Okay, so I'm really nervous to be talking about this, but I know I have to, and I know that if it can just help one person, then it'll be worth it. But yeah, so God, please help me. Amen. So, yeah, I had a near death experience, and the reason I got there was basically just a broken heart. And the reason why I even got myself in the situation that made me have a broken heart was just a lot of low self-esteem. And what happened was just for a while I was crying out to a God that I wasn't even sure I believed in if he would kill me. And then eventually he answered me, and then we talked about that, about whether or not I want to live. But before I just get into that whole experience about me talking with God, I want to give you some background information just about myself and how I even became agnostic in the first place. So I was born and raised Catholic, but it was not something that I was that into, and it was not something that I knew that could fulfill you, and I didn't know that God was as kind as he was and that you can actually have a relationship with him. There's just a lot of things I didn't understand. So I only cared about friends and boys, or just trying to be successful at something, and then eventually in college just partying, and yeah. But so yeah, in middle school all I cared about was friends, but it didn't go so well with me. And by 8th grade, I spent almost every lunch in the bathroom alone because of how shy I was and how the bad drama ended up with my friends and stuff. And I'm not gonna act like a total victim because sometimes I was the one who gossiped, but yeah, that's how that went down. And yeah, and then so going into high school, I just had a lot of bad experiences with boys, and I'll post probably a video here that tells you all my whole history with guys and stuff. But basically what happened that just was not good was just me getting in just low self sorry, I say low self-esteem, me having short-term relationships and then just dealing with sexual assault. So yeah, and I didn't know that it was sexual assault at the time until after I became a Christian and I got counseling for it. And because I didn't know that was sexual assault, I thought it was normal, and there were other bits here and there where somebody would just kind of do somebody maybe from a guy from work or school would just say something or just do something every now and then. I just wouldn't say anything back because I thought it was more normal than it really was. And yeah, so then since boys did not work out well, I decided to give choir a try and try to maybe just be good at something, because people love people who can sing well and stuff. And so I worked hard at that, but it didn't work out because I would just get so much anxiety. So after that, since it was not working out for me, I got really mad at God that he wouldn't let it work out for me, because there were peak girls who wouldn't work as hard, and I would know that because I would talk to them about their work ethic, but they wouldn't work as hard, but they do better. And I was just really mad at him for not letting that work out for me. And I was also I had no idea that you can have a fulfilling relationship with God, and I wanted to be able to do what I wanted. So I'm just you know what, I don't know if I even want to believe in God or not. And I made a Facebook official post saying that. So then after that, going into college, I made that right before going into college. So after I made that post, I decided to just do what I wanted and stuff, and I just started partying a lot more. But the thing about that is that I got into a vicious cycle of letting myself be used and using others. I'm not gonna act like a total victim, like I said, but letting myself be used and use others. And yeah, just became a downward spiral until eventually I just became totally infatuated with one guy who was just really manipulative, but I really liked him. And yeah, I think he just wanted to have sex, but I didn't realize that because we still kind of had a thing for like 5 months, I don't even know. But yeah, so I don't know, I like, and we would talk like on the phone for a long time. Like there were even times where like I would have no minutes left on my phone and my friends couldn't call me because like I spent all my minutes with him. So I don't know, I was just really confused throughout the whole thing, confused to tears literally, because throughout my whole experience with him, and I was also kind of talking to other guys too, which like made me even more confusing, and which is another reason why I'm stressed. I don't want to like act like a victim. But yeah, so yeah, I was just crying out to God for a while, and then eventually he answered me. And yeah, so now I'll get back into talking about that. Yeah, eventually he answered me, and he made sure that I knew that he was listening. And so one night when I was crying my eyes off, after that, my soul was then taken into this heavenly realm. And the reason why I know that this wasn't just a dream was because I was feeling all these feelings that were so great and so like way beyond what I can only do for myself. And I was really, the reason why I know that this was like a heavenly realm was because I just felt so much peace. Also because I was bowing before a little cross. Also because I heard God's voice. And in this place, I was kind of like in a room per se, but it's really hard to explain because logic is just so different in heaven. It's like, I used to think that there was no logic in heaven, but I'm starting to think that there's just so much logic beyond your understanding, because God's the inventor of logic. Christians are not illogical. They're actually more illogical because they depend on the inventor of logic, which is God. But yeah, what was gonna say? So and like I saw these lights, like the walls that were walls per se were like these lights that were going from light to dark, kind of like a sunset, and they were kind of like living and breathing, and it was like really, really beautiful. And like I said, my soul was bowing before a cross, and there were like 2 other crosses that I think represent 2 family members, but I cannot say for sure. And then eventually I heard God's voice, and I just knew it was God's voice right away. Like the way I know that I'm talking to you right now without even thinking about it, the way I just know I'm sitting here without even thinking about it, is the way I just knew it was God's voice. Like I didn't have to think about it, I just knew it was God for some reason. And he knew me by name, and his voice is like, if compassion just had a sound, if masculine compassion had a sound, that's what God would be. He's not sympathetic, but he is compassionate. And he told me, like, Marisa, he knew me by name, you can die now and have it not affect other people's path, but you'd have a lot of purgatory to make up for. And I knew exactly why I had a lot of purgatory. It's kind of crazy, like your soul just knows why. He didn't have to explain anything. I just knew why. Mostly comes down to me just not knowing my sins and stuff, and me not totally renouncing Jesus. And then I respond in my not so reverent voice that I want to live, because now that I know that you're real. And the reason why I was not so reverent is because I was really nervous, because God showed me how great he was during that moment. He showed me how he showed me how kind of stupid I was for thinking that these things are gonna fulfill me. like thinking like partying and romance are gonna fulfill me, when he's the source of all things that are good. He showed me how he's the source of all things that are good. Because like, for instance, like I really wanted like my romantic life to work out at the time, but God, like, I got a sense of romance when I was around him, because he's like what made romance, and he's the one that made it a pure, good, and holy thing. Like, it's a good thing when it's pure, but yeah. So, yeah, so that's why I was nervous. And after I tell him that I just want to be, after I told him that I want to go, that I want to live now that I know that you're real, and now that I want to work some purgatory off, my soul just goes right back down to earth. And he says, okay. And then I gave God a try, and I just want to let you know that it's worth it. And I also want to let you know that Jesus Christ is real. Look into it. Look into it.